Drinking buddies. What's the deal with Michter's and their special releases? Are they good? Let's find out.
I'm your drinking buddy.
All right, drinking buddies. So on our table here, we have 4 special releases from Michter's. First, we have last year's Shenks, 2022 Shenks, which Shenks comes in at 91.2 proof, so lower proof, and this is French oak finished. Shenk was the original owner of the distillery. Supposedly, he sold whiskey to George Washington to fortify his troops, so there's a lot of rich history here. One of the first distillers in the U.S. to be, major. Then I wanted to include the Bomburgers, which is a higher proof. It's 108 proof. And this one's going to be Chinkapine oak finished. So it says, Bomburger's Declaration Bourbon honors the legacy of the former distillery known as Bomburgers in the 1800s and later in Michter's in the 20th century. Please join us in tasting and celebrating American whiskey history. So rich history. Let's read the Shanks one too. Why not? For fun. Shank's Homestead Sour Mash Whiskey honors the legacy of the American whiskey figure John Shenk, who in 1753 founded the distillery to become known as Michter's in the 20th century. Please join us in toasting to celebrating American whiskey history. So a lot of rich history here. Cards on the table. I'm still begging the question, who makes this stuff? Because Michter's does not make anything. It says bottled by Michter's. If they were distilling anything, it would say that on the bottle. Now, I know some people say, oh, well, I went to the Michter's distillery. I saw their still. Well, Angel's Envy has a still too. They don't use it. Just because they have a still doesn't mean they use it. I'm not saying they don't make anything. I'm just saying that if the whiskey in any of these bottles, or even in like their sour mash, if that whiskey was being produced by them, they would say produced by. They would say distilled by. It doesn't. It just says bottled by. So that's very confusing. Anyway, I'm on a tangent, but I think that they're sourced from Wild Turkey personally. So if you think that that is an interesting idea, let me know what you think in the comments. But last up, I wanted to include something a little bit higher proof to compare to the Bomburgers, because I don't have a sample of last year's Bomburgers, so I decided to include this Michter's Barrel Strength Rye. It's 111 proof. So we have a rye, we have a bourbon, and we have 2 sour mash. The sour mash is going to be not quite a bourbon, not quite a rye, rumored to be about 45% corn, 45% rye, and about 10% malted barley. Rumors. Ooh, certainly smells nice. It's a little bit herbal, but mostly caramel and vanilla. Subtle oak. Ooh, that is really good. Some people might say, why do you spend so much time looking for whiskeys that don't have very much transparency? Why wouldn't you just support a different brand that's more transparent? Well, the stuff that they're putting in Michter's bottles is really good, or I probably wouldn't. I'd prefer some more transparency, other than the fact that it says Kentucky on them. That's all we know is Kentucky. Fred Minnick says he thinks that the source is Brown-Forman, and I just don't get that. I don't get banana off of these whiskeys. I've never gotten banana off anything from Michter's, but I do get that Wild Turkey cherry off some. I'm rambling at this point. This is a delicious pour. Cherry, cinnamon, oak. This could be something finished. I'm not sure what I'm dealing with here. That could be a lot of things. It could be anything on this bar. This is my first pour of the night. I don't know. Oh, French oak. This is one of the Shanks, I think. Yeah, French oak just to me has a really unique, spicy oak smell to it. Almost desserty, almost like this one's giving me like creme brulee and pancakes. Wow. That's really freaking good. That's really good. For low proof, that's really good. That's got to be one of the Shanks, though. There's a lot of flavor there for 91 proof, that's for sure. Oh, I guess I didn't give any tasting notes. That's freaking good, isn't a great tasting note. Man, I just really dig that. I'm vibing on that for sure. So it's like red berries. I don't know if I'd go cherries, maybe more like a strawberry thing. A little bit of a spicy thing on the finish. That's just good. That's just good whiskey. I really enjoy that. Now this is medicinal cherry for days. Hold on a minute. I mean, this just so smells like Russell's juice to me. Medicinal cherry, cinnamon, and oak. Cherry for days, caramel, brown sugar. A little bit of a sour oak thing on this one too. It's like sweet and then it turns a little sour. Great mouthfeel, great finish. Excellent, excellent product. Man, Michter's, if you want to ever sponsor one of these things, hit me up, call me up, because I love your product. Even though I did say that you're not transparent enough. You make great whiskey, or you bottle great whiskey. I'm finding it very interesting that I haven't found two that smell similar enough to be the two Shenks. Interesting. This one's dank. This is the first one that's giving me like the wet basement, leather-bound books, cigar box type vibes. Wow. Cherry, brown sugar for days, bourbon, vanilla, oak. A lot of the same notes that I got off of this one. So maybe these might be the two Shenks. Similar notes for sure. Well, drinking buddies, I'm going to go through this again. I'll give you my final word on what I think of all of them and when we come back. Well, drinking buddies, this was really hard because I really like... Oh, I should put this away. Well, drinking buddies, this was really hard because I like all four of these whiskeys a lot. In fact, I would say any of these is a buy for me, even at their higher price tags. All of these bottles are going to be at between $100 and $140, somewhere around there. They're just good whiskey. I mean, I get it if that's too high a price point for you, especially for someone who's, kind of a distillery that kind of struggles in the transparency department. For me, I know I keep mentioning this, but that's just my one apprehension when it comes to Michter's is that. Anyway, drinking buddies, they are four excellent whiskeys. You would not go wrong buying any of these. I would recommend buy. And you know what? Maybe with these, something to keep in mind. These are pretty unknown right now. If the whiskey tube community, if the whiskey world recognized that these things existed, maybe they'd be a lot harder to find. But as of right now, a lot of people don't know about them. So I had multiple opportunities to buy both of these this year. This is not a brag. This is just me saying this is a lot harder to get, like a lot harder to get. The toasted sour mash from last year from Michter's, a lot harder to get than these. So if these are something you want to try, they're not outrageously difficult to find. Let's figure out what I'm dealing with. My least favorite, which we're splitting hairs here because I really like it. I think this is one of the Shenks. And I guess I'll guess it's last year's. And I'm going to be optimistic and hope that my least favorite is the one that I only have this much of. And I'm going to say this is the 2022 Shenks. Nope, that's the Bomburgers. The most expensive bottle up here was my least favorite. No shock there, though. And like I said, it's a really good whiskey. It was just giving me a little bit too much of a medicinal thing off the cherry. They all have cherry, but on this one, it was really concentrated into like a medicinal cherry. And I like medicinal cherry, but it was just, for this flight, a little bit too much in comparison to the rest. This has got to be one of the Shenks, but I've already blown my Queen Sweep, so we won't stress that too much. Maybe this is the 2022 Shenks? This is the freaking rye? That just drinks like a bourbon to me, man. There's so much cherry on there. There's so much brown sugar. There's so much vanilla. So bourbon drinker's rye right here. So the two Shenks are my favorite. All right, my second favorite Shenks was this year's. Darn it, my favorite was last year's? Dang it. I'm a little disappointed on that since I have bottles of all of these. But, like I said, they are all great whiskeys. You can't go wrong here. I could have easily shook this around and ended up putting Bomburgers higher ahead. I had more to sip on each one. I probably could have. Because, you know, I generally tend to be a proof person, and I put the two higher proof ones at the back. If I would have filled these glasses a little higher, maybe gone with an ounce on each one, I might have ended up switching that, because I do tend to lean proof normally. Anyway, drinking buddies, Shenks, Bomburgers, Michters, great stuff. Look for it. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you on the next one.